And welcome to the 15 Minutes or Less GEICO podcast with the head coach Doug Wojcik, brought to you by GEICO, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. That's 1-800-947-AUTO, or visit them online at geico.com. And we welcome you inside TD Arena just hours after a thrilling come-from-behind win last night. Thanks for tuning in here for another week of the GEICO 15 Minutes or Less podcast. And again, Coach, this is going to probably be impossible to get this in here in about 15 minutes or less. But congratulations on the win last night. Obviously, you guys down by 14, come from behind. Willis Hall hits the shot with 1.5 left as you guys win it. What was the locker room like afterwards?
Oh, it was ecstatic. We had a little mosh pit in there, and I think some guys were like me, just in disbelief that we had won the game. But more than anything else, I thought after the game, the alma mater, maybe it's catching on a little bit, to have the students in there with the dance team and the cheerleaders and everybody in there kind of celebrating, and the students stayed. That was the first time that has happened. So that's what we had hoped for a year ago when we started this. It helps winning, and I just thought it was neat to celebrate with the students.
Let's just start there. Great atmosphere last night. It started with a whiteout. Great crowd on hand last night. We had almost 5,000 white T-shirts on the backs of all the seats here behind us. It just looked great from the outset last night.
Yeah, I tell you, the marketing staff did a great job. They were working all afternoon. Put them on the chairs, on the seats really nicely with the six for the six-man, really prominently showing. And I just really appreciated the people that came and then the people who stayed, because it really was a remarkable game, and you may never see a game like that again.
I will admit, my wife left early last night. Now, her excuse was she had to take the kids home because they had school, but they listened all the way on the way back home, and listened to Dad on the radio all the way back home, but they were kicking themselves for leaving. So I know they were guilty. And I got about 2 or 3 texts last night from people who left also.
Well, after a game like that, you don't go home and go to bed. Right. You know, so my entire family, my brother's game started at 11 p.m. in San Jose. So we were geared up for our game, right. And then of course we're trying to watch the San Jose State game on the internet. So my kids, they may be asleep in class right now at right, school.
Yeah. Well, let's break this one down again. Really good game in the first half. Before we get to the final 6 or 7 minutes, really good first half. Very well played. A lot of big time plays being made by Canyon, by Joe Cheeley, some of the guys we've been talking about so far. Really, the only time it got away from you guys was the final few minutes when they went on that 11-0 run to end the first half.
Yeah, great start, great energy. Ajay was the best player on the floor the first 5 minutes of the game. I mean, there was just no question about it. And then the guards were making plays, and we got out of sync because Ajay had to go to the bench. Joe Cheeley got 2 fouls. Anthony Thomas got 2 fouls, very similar to what happened in Louisville. So we're going to continue to try to play without fouling and managing things, but not a great run into the locker room, down 11, I think it was, wasn't it? So, but great start. Just we can't allow us to have such a kind of a letdown defensively when they started making shots and everything like that.
So you go into halftime, you're down by 11, you come out, and it still stays around 10, 11 points, and then all of a sudden, let's just kind of go through this chronologically, because I was looking back on it today, because I, like you and everybody else, as soon as the game ended, we're all like, wait a second, how the heck did that just happen? So let's skip ahead. You're down 69-55 with 6:01 left on the clock, and Canyon hits a 3. We didn't realize it at the time, but that was really the start of this comeback. It was Canyon who hit the 3 and Joe Cheeley who hit the layup, 2-year freshman.
Yeah, they obviously made plays. At that point, we're playing Willis pretty much at the 5.
Right.
Anthony Thomas is at the 4, and we have no girth, no size really to rebound with Thorne and the kid Clayton, who had 8 offensive rebounds. But at that point, we had no choice, and we were just kind of 5 out, screen and roll, screen and pop, drive it, kick it, and they started making plays.
And then, skip ahead. Now down 3 minutes and 13 seconds left. You're still down by 9. Even though Canyon and Joe hit those 2 big shots, you're still down by 8 or 9. So now you're down 71-62. Anthony Thomas steps up and hits a big 3 for you. This is something that I really noticed looking back. It was truly a team effort that brought you guys back in this one.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you saying that, because some guys played well throughout the game, some guys didn't play well throughout the game. But at the end of the game, they all played and they all stepped up and made plays. I totally appreciate you saying Anthony. I thought Anthony Thomas's 3 was maybe the biggest 3 of them all, because it was him and in the situation. And then of course Stitt made one, and Joe made one, and obviously Canyon. So it was a team effort.
Yeah, when Anthony Thomas hit that three, that made it 71-65, cut it down to 6 points. And then later, with 1:41 left, Joe Cheeley steps up and hits a three. That makes it 73-68. All of a sudden now you're putting pressure on Charlotte, and they're starting to feel it.
They did, and they you know, we kept chipping away. But even then, I mean, I think we scored 12 points in the last minute 30.
Yeah.
So just a great gut check, and it's just special to be a part of something like that.
Well, and the most amazing stat to me was, looking back on this morning, in the final 39 seconds of the game, you guys outscored Charlotte 10-2. So I mean, just an incredible run there in the final 40 seconds. Let's get to that final play. Joe Cheeley gets the rebound. He starts it up the court. He's a freshman. I mean, I talked about this on the radio. You and I talked about this. He just turned 18 on November 1st, and the guys are handing him the ball and saying, hey, help us win this game.
Yeah, well, I just really appreciate it. He's very slithery. I don't even think that's a word. He's quick.
That's
I mean, he's just hard to, and he's the one guy that he's got good size, so he can see things. Yeah. And what I was most impressed with is he never panicked to shoot a shot. And he realized at 10 seconds he had more time, and he made the defense commit to him, and we got an open layup. Unbelievable. I mean, just poise and just great presence by Joe.
He has such great vision of the floor, and he showed that, obviously, as you said, drawing the defense into him, dumping it off to Willis Hall. And we had Joe on the radio afterwards, and he said, you know, just what little he's known about Willis now, knowing him for 6 or 8 months, he said he's a guy who's always in the right place and the right time for me.
Yeah, he's a winner. You know, and I talked to the team after the Louisville game that Willis has to be involved a little bit more. And if you go back on my year and a half here, I mean, when Willis plays well, you know, we have a good chance of winning. Willis doesn't play in the George Mason game to end the season in the postseason because of the broken foot. Right. You know, we lose at the buzzer. He's just a winner, and Joe's a winner. Canyon's a winner. So those kind of guys have to be making plays.
Well, so Willis hits the shot, puts you guys up 83-82 with a second and a half left, and obviously Henry does the half-court heave for Charlotte, no good, and the Cougars hang on to win it 83-82. Now 1-1 on the season. Great crowd on hand last night, very excited. When we come back, we'll talk about this win. I want to ask you and get your thoughts on what this can do for a season. I know it's early, but we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the Louisville game as well. The guys played very well last Saturday against Louisville, so a lot more to talk about. When we come back here on the GEICO 15 Minutes or Less podcast, here with the head coach.
GEICO says, let's make life simpler.
Look, I'm all for modern conveniences. But ask yourself, do you really need a blender with 23 buttons just to chop an onion? At GEICO, we think life should be simpler. So we make it super simple to save on car insurance. Just one click and you could be on your way to saving hundreds. Come on, people. Life doesn't have to be that complicated.
GEICO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Welcome back on the court here inside TD Arena. Again, just hours after a great win last night for the guys. 83-82 as they erase a 14-point deficit, come all the way back. They outscore Charlotte 10-2 in the final 39 seconds for a big win last night over the Charlotte 49ers. You know, when you look back on this win, I don't want to be an over-dramatic radio or TV guy, but it's just the second game of the season. But how big is a win like this to really kind of propel your season?
Well, quite honestly, the two games, we knew they were going to be tough games. We knew that it'd be hard to get everybody in the game. You're playing at Louisville, you're playing Charlotte. The way we competed against Louisville, we belonged in that game. Yeah. I mean, I felt great Saturday. All right, coming into this game, what people need to understand is they're coming from the Atlantic 10. They've been in the Atlantic 10. Charlotte, we haven't played Charlotte since 1994, so we knew they had big-time players. Right. And so for us to win that game against a junior guard like Henry, who's so experienced, and their post guys are a little bit older and bigger and stronger, it'll go a long way. And more than anything else, it'll go a long way with our fans, and it'll go a long way with our students. I think the students had a great time. They stuck around. That's what college basketball is all about. And so I'm just so happy for them. I'm happy for our team. I'm happy for the whole program, the Cougar Club, the athletic department, the school, because I think we can unify this thing and really come together.
I know you didn't see the quote. You and I were just talking during the break, but Alan Major, the head coach for Charlotte, had a really nice quote in the post-game show, giving you a lot of credit. He said, listen, he said, Doug did a great job with his team. They managed the clock very well. And he said that our team personifies you and your intensity and your never say die attitude basically, and he said the guys just never gave up, and it was a huge credit to you and to the players.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I've known Alan. He was at Ohio State. I was a Michigan State guy, so you got a little Big Ten rivalry there. No, really nice. I really give the kids credit, because you can keep fighting as a coach, but boy, do your kids keep fighting, and they deserve all the credit down the stretch to make those just natural basketball plays that need to be made because of the time and situation.
You know, speaking of guys making plays, just real quick, got to get your thoughts on Canyon Berry. You know, we've talked about this. Who's going to take that big shot for you? We talked about this last year. I thought Canyon, so many times when you needed someone to drive and score a bucket, just to see the basketball go through the hoop, Canyon provided that for you.
Yeah, really just tremendous. I can't sit here and say that I knew that Canyon would respond to his first 2 games the way he's responded. Yeah. For him and Joe to play at Louisville, defending national champs, ranked 3rd in the country, and then to come home and play a really tough home opener. I mean, we scheduled well, and them react the way they did, Canyon in particular, getting a bucket in a lot of different ways, is just really special for him. His time put into it, the time off for the year, really is paying off. And then from my perspective as a coach, I have a go-to guy that can go off the dribble, catch and shoot threes. I mean, how about Willis's pass from in the post to him late in the game, and he just knocked down that 3, and we really needed it then, and he made that play.
All right, Coach, you guys now 1-1 on the season, lost on the road at Louisville last week. Let's just talk about that real quick. I thought you guys competed so well, especially for the first 33 minutes of that game. Louisville's a very good team, but really the guys look like they belong. Huge environment, 21,000 people there. I thought the guys really played well.
Yeah, they did. I mean, I was very comfortable. I've said this a bunch, and I'll say it on the podcast here. I mean, I took many teams, my Tulsa teams, into Calipari's Memphis teams into Memphis, and there were times you just felt like, wow, you know, you don't have a chance. Yeah. And just standing there and coaching the game the other day is, we belonged in that game, and that was a springboard for Charlotte and for that win, and it's a springboard for the season.
Again, the guys now 1-1, and this is a stretch now, 4 home games for you guys. They're going to come fast and furious now, and already back at it on Friday here at home against UNC Asheville. I just looked at them briefly this morning. They got a couple big-time scorers on their squad. Yeah,
the big kid inside is a very good player, 5th-year senior, and their 4-man is kind of like a facilitator, a point guard forward for them. And then they have a freshman leading them in scoring right now. So another test. Nothing's easy. Nothing's going to be given to you. Just got to get our rest, get acclimated, get comfortable, and go out and play our game.
What will the week be like for the guys? Probably not a whole lot of time off this week.
Yeah, no, we practice today and tomorrow, and but that's the first time I've had 4 guys in over 30 minutes. So we're going to have to, go over things, but the key thing is being fresh on Friday.
And then you got Miami right after that. So again, they're going to come fast and furious.
The good thing there is you have Saturday, Sunday. You don't have school. Right. So I have Saturday, Sunday. I have more time to watch tape, film, things like that, and be ready for Miami Monday.
Well, hey, congratulations again on the win last night. It was a pleasure to be sitting right there and watching the whole thing go down. That was incredible.
Yeah, it's one of those moments that I think we'll all remember. Special time. It sure beats. I lost to Memphis, had a 1-point lead at home against Memphis, and we lost. So it sure beats that experience that I had there. So one of the great experiences I've had as a coach.
All right, congratulations. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Jeff.
That's the head coach, Doug Wojcik. I'm Jeff McCarriger. Thanks for tuning in to the GEICO 15 Minutes or Less podcast this week here on CFCSports.com.